All various universes, there are a whole bunch of them, have a central sun. And that central sun is to the suns, their own soul, in their universe, as Christ would be to humans. So it gives you a feel for what a central sun is about. So, there was one formation that installed the heart of God in the utility of the planet. And that was then encoded into a key proclamation that we've had for years and years as the Barbary Castle followed those things. And that has been working with us since. So this is the formation, you get it.
I'm just hanging there. Jeez.
Then installed. That one. Each one of those discs is a central sun of a universe. And I'm not, as a universe, I'm not talking galaxy, I'm talking all the trillions and billions of galaxies in a universe. So this is a fairly large expression of what is virtually the cosmic Christ in the more cosmic universes, the Metatronic universes, which we'll talk about. The one in the center is the central sun of all central suns. So that's the Christ of the Christ to the umpteenth power. And that sun is called Miseriel. It did not fall, it's too holy. But it is in the location of the planet, or the sun, the nebula, in Leo, and this is the power of Leo, relatively. We know, since we know the position that it would be holding, the Knights Templar, Masons, and all the grid people for the last 500,000 years have been using the nebula as the point for their grids, earth grids, celestial grids, and so forth. We've received straightforward instructions to begin every session, every day, with a prayer and a bit of ceremony. And it's part of it. And the purpose of this is not to internalize, the purpose is to, if you're open like that, you're not short-circuiting as you would in your individual meditation. This opens you up more, and your energies are more into flow, reception mode, which is what synergies are. So you become individual souls, but unified. So it's, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. You can hold your hands anywhere you want. Hands and feet are major chakras. Okay, go into your own light, your own point of reference that you go into in your own meditation. But be aware of the rest of the group as souls. You are here, I am told specifically, as masters in your own right, and that is why you're here. So if you really put part of your attention on that mastership of that high being that exists within yourself, and that which is highest, if you share that with the rest of the group and with those on the inner planes, and receive as a re-given that same high essence of self from the other members. And with that, we will open with a prayer. We begin with the summary. We open the veil and call to witness for us both Varakanda, Menon, David, and the many luminaries who assist us at this time. chariot of the sun, Merkabah, the holy host, the angelic seraphim, and all those other living ones who shed their light upon us at this time. We visualize and feel all of our hearts within the unity, all expanding in that light, which is love personified. The liquid golden crystals of the Christic mana, sustaining and flooding all the cells of our unified bodies. This is the host of Christic blessing. We breathe it deeply with Selah breaths of the quietness, infusing our energy bodies in the whole of our beings and in the whole of our group. The prayer has flown, and so it is.
So it is.
So it is.
If Edie would assist at this time. We have also received instructions to establish a 4 square at the beginning of the day along with the prayer. So the first one is a stone from Masada. Masada in the future, the distant future, which is just now and not another time, is the headquarters for everything that's going on in this planet in its transition ascension. In the future, the mountain will be an island, the island of the Emerald Mar. And I won't go into the history of it except to just establish our connection with the central mountain and temple that has extended. Temples of the Emerald Mar are the Templar Mar across all of time. So we're basically tying in with our chief headstone, hailstone, into that system. So if you would place that one. On that one. Technical note, usually in grids or groups, we have been using about a 2.5, 3 degree, it's called a Selah feel. Selah in Hebrew means the silence between the musical notes or the unmoving fulcrum. And it's a term used to refer to the unmanifest God and a source of all life that's beyond light, beyond angels, beyond everything. And that's the silence that all mystics train themselves to go into, and it's the foundation of all ideas, events, form, and whatever. So when that axis spins around, it opens that field to everything that's within. So for what is happening now with the Shah Allura event, that special system, which we'll be using intensely in the oncoming 5 days, that is increased to 40 degrees to do the same thing. So it's more than just 5 or 6 or 10 degrees more. It's to the umpteenth power increase, and that spins around like a big beacon of divine life, activation, regeneration for everything that's in this field. So that is from that post, going out like that, coming through and into this point here. So that, and I'll go into what is eagle and the valley and the geometry bit when we get into the grid work. If you care to, you could broaden any kind of little or crystal or momentum totem. You're welcome to place it on the our altar, and there are cards and a pen there. If you put your name on it so you know who's switch, and you could put a write the prayer on the back of it, we get around to other people. So the cards are there, and the pen are there. When you get a chance to do it. You can place it up there right now if you want. And do the paperwork when we get around to it. That's my cheat sheet. So the reason we're here is to facilitate at our human level, outer planes, physical, emotional, mental, and so forth. We're the people on the ground. This Thoth says we're the ground crew. We're sort of like the lightning rod. The programs come into the planet and the world, so on and so forth. And with light groups or spiritual groups of all sorts.
Thank you.
A little background right now. This building, well, this area right here locally has always been a time group. People coming into this area are basically moved into, or calibrated, coded, to be able to do their work in this particular, very specific reality frame. And so when you come by or drive by 80 miles an hour or whatever, they're coded there. It's a time gate, and when you time loop, you can go out of the body, bang, be somewhere for 1 billion years, and bang, and immediately back as far as this time. So we report something that's fairly common. Now, due to what is happening with the world soul of the universe, and this ascension thing that we're talking about, that time gate action has been increased a great level here in this building and in the immediate area. It's keying into cosmic time gates, like in Taurus and so forth. So the upgrade in this particular area is reflected in anybody that comes in to attune them. And then when they go out to get recalibrated, anything that they picked up that's beyond their ability or capability or interest or need to have is peaked and tweaked to ease it and release it. And they're sort of returned to normal time and pass it. That's the function of this. And then this has another total over across the valley. That's the sharp line. And we'll be talking about this. I brought it up now so it explains to Chris what happened and a little bit of information. Okay, so again, why we're here. To, as I say, to facilitate the coming of this particularly important input into our world system. The name given to it, the ancient name Shah Nura, which relates to the beginning and the ending. Doesn't end everything, it's the ending of something and the beginning of the next. This is a very special event of our time period. Again, I'll be explaining that. The 5 days will be using an advanced light group technique to accomplish that. We've had a very recent history in the last several weeks or month where other interplanes agencies have observed our action, the group performance, things that we've done. And they're now using that to accelerate their own programs relative to the Shah work. And that streaming is going on all the time, and undoubtedly process today as part of that. Even though it's supposed to be a beginning process, don't assume that it is. It's, every time we've had a beginning process, it pretty much blew the roof off. You won't be overexposed, it won't be dangerous, but your light bodies will be pushed hard over your usual comfortable limit. But that's typical. That's nothing unusual, but it's safe. You not only have your own high self, you have your guides, which are always better educated and a little bit higher on the ladder. Then in addition to that, you have specialists for your own activities that are relatively temporary. And then on top of that, you have specialists that are overseeing it. But now we have specialist guides that's individually assigned for the time you're here and any time either before or after you're into the events or the kind of energy systems and so forth that are peculiar to the child or installations. And that's pretty big time stuff. So in the event that you get into any kind of energetic situation, call them in. Be it, they're there, but it helps you bring some attention to them. Gets it down into the mental body and so forth. So don't sweat the energies, but be alert. And I would like to know myself how things go with you for the whole time. I don't read auras. I don't read the Akashic. Other people do. But I have the karmic responsibility for what happens. So it would be a real help to me if you assume that anything that happens here to you, I need to know about. Okay. So, to facilitate it now today, I need to give you cosmology that you probably have not encountered before. You have through my work. But even her work has some bends in it that we're going to be addressing here. So don't worry if you don't understand it, because I haven't found anybody yet that has that much. I want to expose you to the ideas, so the feelings, the ideas of the scope of certain areas of interest and focus. And so don't sweat. The notes probably won't help you. We're recording it, so if you have any need to go back into it, eventually I'll have it recorded. So it would be better probably, I don't care if you take notes if you want, but if you do, you probably missed about 3 universes in time your attention. So just easing back, let your souls, or I'm talking to your souls mainly, but it's nice to have a mental body along with it too, as much as possible. But the point is, don't worry if you don't understand. It's okay to ask questions. All right, now, so I'll be doing that cosmology part of it this morning, which is a little long. This afternoon we'll have the practical work of what a group is and how it works, which is a simple thing, but it does need a little bit of instruction. And it will be different, I'm sure, from those groups that you've been in before. It's nothing too radical, but it's just different. So I'll be explaining all that this afternoon, and then we'll do the actual session. And then I'll critique it afterwards. And we'll be walking the local labyrinth, which is just outside the wall here. And that labyrinth was built last year. And then Judith, who's here now in the building, resident, and she laid it out. She didn't know anything about the root system here at all, but she built it perfectly right to the inch, lined up with the fire pit, which is in the courtyard there. And that constructs an L geometry, which is a shorthand for an eye of Ra time beat. And I'll show you more on this later. But anyway, that labyrinth is really important. It duplicates a model for the Taurus constellation. And again, I'll show you a great big huge L gate in the Taurus format. And beyond that, Orion, Taurus, Sirius, Monoceros, and what all of that is about relative to what we're doing. That would be a great section. So, cosmology, practical work. Start with the last phase of this actually it's the last phase of this last cycle that we're in, of the 20. We're now finishing up the 19th cycle, going into the last one, which is the key one, the 20th one. So that phasing is dumping the old and reestablishing the new. It's a bridging that we're going into. So you have future codes in the Mayan template. Now, I myself look at all the cultures, religions, and so forth as transparencies, in a pile of transparencies. So if you want to know, and each one has its own reality, a teleplane, a temporal reality, and a spiritual reality. But if you want to put them all together in the 20 cycle format, you just stack them up and look down through the whole bunch of them. If you want to pull out any kind of specific matrices, you just jerk out whatever templates you want as one synergic unit. So that it's more convenient to arrange time. Now let's move on. So the 20th cycle is the thing that will get together all the building of this new race and universe reality. Putting it together, working model, if any corrections have to be made, we can go back in time, you can tweak it and fix it. The thing about time, it's flexible, it's dynamic, past and future. It's always changing, and we shouldn't be locked into the idea that the past is fixed. It isn't. It's fluid. That includes the ability of rivers and mountains moving across, changing its location, even in the history. We've seen that happen. Okay, now, to facilitate a lot of the mechanics in this big project, there is a universal format called the flashing universe. All the universes flash together, and they implode from a compression universe of the platonic solids format is an expression of this universe that we're in, compressed and into a spherical, cubical format for a universe reality. Now, when we implode that sphere through itself, it becomes a torus. Now, you don't really know, unless you want to, when you flash from one mode to the other. The torus is more real than the platonic cube sphere universe. And so we're constantly flashing from one to the other and back again through an implosion point. That implosion point is the nothingness, the Selah factor, so we're constantly regenerating, dumping the old and rebuilding the next instant of reality. And this thing is happening so fast you can't even begin to imagine the speed. But you can freeze frame it if you want to use it or slow it down mentally. It's a handy thing to have in one book. But the point is that we're constantly, all universes are coordinated. You can skip from one to the other in an instant through that implosion point. So that gives us our key to the time gate. If you can do that with some sort of system, Thoth says, without the system, you could go in as 10 sticks of gum and come back as a wad, all mushed together. There's a reason for systems. So this Rochelle format has a system called the Eye of Ra. It's a golden ratio rhombus, and it's formatted, shorthand version of that L shape. And we'll go into that a little bit later. So this is a torus. When we were given the codes, I'm not going to go into all that, it's too detailed. We have a heliotropical light, it's a conical vortex. There's also one down here too, so they're constantly working together. The sharp labyrinth is an example of one of these things. It's projected down into a plane. All right, the other form that works with it is a tetrahedron, and again there are 2 tetrahedrons, and they're flashing also. There's star tetrahedrons, and then they fall apart in that. So that's that. Now, next, when we cut the torus into planes, there's an infinite number of planes that go around here. So if we cut and create one plane, our north direction is always towards the center. So we can orient these planes north, south, east, and west. And the vertical axis actually is the center axis of the torus, but it appears to us as pretty much not a curved line, although it is. It looks like a vertical. That's a mental gymnastic that you go through to use this thing through intention. And you can intend yourself to be in the torus mode using a torus format. And it would be just exactly the same as in the other universe mode. Now, there is a third universe mode that's more important and is real compared to these two. And that's called the neutra universe. So when the two are flashing through each other, they go through a neutra point. That's one point, but that opens a sacred gap that you can work with. And you can access this neutra universe. It's a creation, that's where your creation field generates. Into that sacred gap that is actually combining all 3 together as one working unity. Now, in that sacred gap, you create it with the phi or the golden ratio rhombus. So that creates the gap, the field, and then using the pi, pi, 3.14 system, that will create a circle, sphere, or a cube that begins to install whatever, or arc, whatever it is that you want to work with. And that holds the charge and organization of all 3 units.